Thank you for tuning in and checking out another episode of Unlucky, a memoir. My name is Kat. Everyone has a story. This one just happens to be mine. Welcome back. It's another week, and it's been a week. Managing the housing end of this program can be difficult. Watching clients walk away for lack of willingness, and part of it is you want to just choke them and like choke them and drag them into recovery and make them get it, but that just isn't how it works. I've had people throughout my whole life trying to help me, but again, like the other week, not in the way that I wanted help. So like I had to figure it out for myself. I had to figure out what I needed, what worked, and what I had to do. I was just facilitating earlier, and in a meeting earlier also it came up, in helping to the point of it being a detriment, right? When you make things too comfortable, too easy, handing things to the people helping can become a problem. And I use the analogy, like they talk about a butterfly. If you open a butterfly's cocoon, it'll never fly. It has to struggle and free itself in order to fill its wings with blood, and so it has the strength to actually use its wings and fly. So that struggle is an important part of becoming who we need to become. When there's no struggle, there's no growth. We don't learn from complacency. We don't grow from complacency. And like I said, it's a struggle watching people make decisions that you know in your heart are probably not the best decisions for them to make. But you can only do so much. Sometimes you have to go out and struggle a little bit more for the pain to become great enough to instill the willingness to do whatever it takes, no matter what. And I'm a firm believer that, like, I know for me, I had to become willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what, especially the uncomfortable stuff, because the uncomfortable stuff is where we learn, where we grow, where we become the people who we're meant to become. And there's a lot of things that I do on a daily basis that I don't want to do. One of them is showing up and going to the gym. Like, I wake up and that's not the top priority in my mind. I try to usually make deals with myself, cop some pleas, try to figure out, like, I could take today off, right? I'll just make it up later. And that brings me back to do the hard thing today. It makes tomorrow easier. And like, I talk myself into it and I show up, right? And that's not even enough. I know, like, parts of my workout that I do every day, I think I struggle. Like, I get out there and I start trying to say, well, maybe I don't need to do the full X amount of minutes today. I can just cut it back and do this, or maybe not ride the full amount of miles, just cut it back today. But I know in here, I'll be upset with myself later why I didn't just follow through and do it. So that's what drives me. And most of the time, as I'm trying to cut deals with myself, I look down and the timer hits or the mileage hits, and I've made it through another workout. And it's one of those things where the payoff isn't always immediate, right? But my willingness doesn't wane anymore. Like, I know that we aren't immediately gratified by making good choices and healthy decisions. But I know in the long run That's what's going to pay off. That's what's going to move me forward. That's what's going to make me a better person than I was yesterday. And that willingness is everything. And like I've dug deep over the past couple of years to foster that willingness, right? Because originally you're motivated not to feel like you used to feel, not to go back to the depths of our addictions. But the further you're removed from that, sometimes the harder it is to remember what it was like. And then the motivation starts to wane because that pain becomes a distant memory and it's not in the forefront like it was when I walked into recovery and wanting to change my life. So luckily I had some good people in my life that taught me that motivation is fleeting. You have to figure out a way to work around it. If you have someone or something that motivates you, you're very lucky, but chances are it's not going to be there on a daily basis. So I had to turn that into determination, dedication, and the resilience I built from doing those things on a daily basis and rewiring my brain to understand, like, it's not about what I want to do. It's about what I need to do. It's about what's best for me moving forward. And it, like, again, it's painful watching people make the same poor decisions that I've made most of my life. Because you want to just, don't you understand what I've been through and where I'm at? And you have this opportunity, this chance to do it now. And again, it doesn't work that way. I had to become willing to sit in the uncomfortability. I had to become willing to suffer for a better future. And suffer is a broad term. Some days it's greater than others, but most days it's putting yourself into those uncomfortable positions of having the conversation that you really don't feel you want to have with a person, to let them know how maybe they crossed your boundary, or you see them headed down a path that's unhealthy, or just letting them know about their behaviors and that they need to change them, or else they're going to be excused from the program that might be here to save their life. And becoming okay with that, becoming willing to step up, to accept more work because you know it's what needs to happen. And like I told my boss, he goes, I don't expect you to handle that. You don't have to take care of that, but if that's what you're willing to do, you're more than welcome to do it. And see, the willingness, I know by taking on those extra tasks, and they're not huge, they won't take me a ton of extra time, but I know moving forward down the road, they're going to make my life easier. They're going to make my life simpler, because I'm going to have to deal with the mistakes that are made if the outside party's handling this end of the business. So I am growing. I just had that realization that I'm growing into the person that I was supposed to be. Accepting responsibility, being trusted with responsibility is huge. Showing up in my faith journey and becoming willing to understand that I needed to surrender to something greater than me, and I choose to call that Christ. And showing up on a weekly basis to be of service. And there's Sundays I wake up at 6 a.m. and go, I don't want to do this today, but I do it anyway, because that's what I need to do. That's part of who I need to be. And part of that's who I want to be now. Like, I want to be that person that shows up for others and is of service to a community that supported me wholeheartedly and helped me through my early recovery and continues to help me in my recovery to this day. So willingness. being willing to sit in the uncomfortable, being willing to move forward through the fire, even though it's going to hurt, knowing that I can make it out the other side, and knowing that I'm forged in that fire. And we have a decision to make when we walk into that fire. We can let it forge us and make us stronger, or we can let it burn us up. And today I choose to let it forge me and make me stronger. And I believe I'm becoming stronger on a daily basis, mentally, physically, emotionally. And a lot of that has to do with making these videos and just saying some of this stuff out loud. I told them in group earlier that like meditation and especially journaling or talking to somebody else is a great way to move forward, because up here is scary. There's a lot of dark corners and it can rattle around and become an echo chamber telling me I got some bright ideas when the best ideas I had got me deep into my addiction. And so sometimes speaking it, right? And I tell people, like when I go to speaking engagements, whatever, I understand that you're here to hear me share my story, but a lot of this is more for me than it is for you. Because when I speak things aloud, it lets me really identify, and it's not just something bouncing my head anymore, it becomes real. And accountability comes with that. Because when I speak, it's out there and I can no longer pretend that I don't know. And like I said the other week, and somebody commented, like, you can lie to other people all you want, but I can't lie to myself, because I'm never going to get better if I can't get beyond lying to myself. So I guess the question is, what are you willing to do? And you don't have to be suffering from addiction or in recovery. It could be you just want a better life. You want to change XYZ behavior. You want to, whatever. What are you willing to do? And I don't mean go rob a bank because you want more money. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to suffer for? Because sometimes it's sacrificing a relationship that's unhealthy because you know you'll become a better person away from that. Even though that immediacy is that comfort of being with the other person, even though you know it's unhealthy. Just like me with drugs, was instant gratification for a high that lasted like nothing, only to be followed up with the guilt, shame, remorse, regret. And again, ask myself, why did I do it again? So with that, what are you willing to do? Something that I think we all need to ask ourselves from time to time, like, what am I willing to do? And for me, in my recovery, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what, especially the uncomfortable things. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming on this journey with me, following along weekly with my story. I hope something I said somewhere along these videos helps someone else. I'm going to keep doing my best to come back weekly with a new video, because there's a handful of you that watch every week, and I really, truly appreciate you and every other person who maybe only comes in once in a while. I'd appreciate if you could please like, share, subscribe. It helps feed the algorithm, maybe get this video out to more people. And who knows, somebody may see this and it might be just what they need and what they're going through. So with that being said, think about what you're willing to do. And I'll catch you all next week.